What's up, you guys? Happy Monday! I'm riding solo again. My counterpart is not doing so hot today. So last week he lost his voice, and this week he definitely has some kind of achiness stomach thing going on. So he was trying to join me, and I'm like, no offense, love, but you look awful, and I think you should just go lay down. So anyway, so I want to talk about it. I had my first Reiki session on Friday, and I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about it. So obviously, if you have followed much of my journey in the last couple of years, it's definitely been a lot of healing, a lot of spiritual growth, reconnection to God and Source and myself, and all of those things. Hi, Nate. And so I did a Reiki session. We had a gal named Christy. So if you guys want Christy's info and you're in Colorado, actually she does virtual sessions. She's amazing. And so mutual friend, we decided that we would do trades for CrossFit and Reiki, which is fantastic. I love trading. So I really didn't know what to expect, right? Like I kind of had an idea, but I really didn't know what it was going to be like. So I went in pretty open mind, obviously like nervous. I feel like we're always nervous about things we've never done, right? So basically what Reiki is that she reads your energy, balances your chakras. If you guys don't know what chakras are, it's the energy systems that run in your body. And then she basically, when I got there, she's like, your body's going to tell me a story and I'm going to tell it back to you. And I was like, okay, this could be interesting, right? So, got into it, started face up. I know I have some certain protectors about surrender, and trust, which actually came up. But there's a thing when I lay on my back, I can't lay with my palms up. So like I have a really hard time in breathwork laying with my palms up, which to me is a something about surrender and not being able to surrender. So I had asked, like, can I, like I always put one hand on my heart and one on my like solar plexus. I think that's a breathwork thing because that's how we started learning how to breathe. When we do breathwork, a lot of our breath pattern is belly, chest, exhale. And to be honest, I struggle with that breath pattern to get very deep breaths. As someone who fought with body image disorders and eating disorders, having my stomach expand actually really triggers me still. And it's pretty funny how I don't want to do it. So I always want to breathe in instead of breathing out. Anyway, side story to that. I was like, okay, I'm gonna start with my hands like that. She's like, yeah, do whatever you want, whatever. So eye mask, we start the session. So you're laying on basically a table. So kind of like you would be in massage. And then she was like, take some deep breaths and just be, right? So, went through the session. So she started at my feet and then kind of works her way up, on the front of your body. Like when she gets to, like solar plexus, heart, throat, she doesn't actually touch you. She just stays over the chakra. And then at one point as you roll over, goes through the whole thing again. And there was definitely times, if you guys meditate, you've probably been in that like sweet spot of like awake, but not conscious, right? So you're actually tapping into your subconscious. There were times where I could feel the energy like pass and travel, and I've been having some stuff. So I got my toe stepped on in soccer 2 weeks ago. Totally thought I broke my toe. My toe is still killing me. And then I've been having some left hip issues, which those tend to come and go. And so apparently the left side is the feminine energy of your body. Shocking. If you know me, I'm very core masculine. When I drop into my feminine, things get better. And so she was like, there's some stuff going on the left side. So that all made sense. Spent some time in different places, had some breakthroughs. Like I had a really weird, I don't know what you guys believe in about past lives. And it's not something I know much about, but kind of interested in. But in the beginning of the session, I had this flash where like the best way to describe it is that, I basically felt like I was in Karate Kid, like when they're back in, Vietnam, Japan. I don't even know where Karate Kid is. Oh my God, you guys, that's terrible. But somewhere east, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been here. And I was like, maybe that was a past life thing, which was also sort of a strange sensation to come into my mind. Because if you knew me 3 years ago, I was probably the most logical, non-feely, past life kind of person. Like I was not woo-woo at all. So I had that happen. Definitely had some spots where she would touch certain chakras and I'd feel the energy traveling through my body. Super crazy. Amazing experience, right? Like when I woke up, she had said, you're gonna be really tired and be really out of it. So I came out of it. It was probably an hour session. And so she's like, okay, I'm gonna let you be, I'm gonna leave, come back in and we'll talk about it. So she had me sit up, and it was just this like, okay, I feel really woozy, amazing, strange, I don't even know how to explain it, sensation. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. So, she came back in and she was like, okay, so here's, and I'll share with you guys all of this stuff because a lot of you guys, there you go, Japan, thank you. All of you guys have heard a lot of my healing, and I believe that the authenticity and the vulnerability is part of what makes healing so beautiful. And I'm an open book when it comes to that stuff. So she came back in and she's like, okay, so she's like, so when we started, you had this really, we had this, like, she had this strange energy. So she can feel your energy in her body. That's how it works. And she's like, I couldn't figure out if we were like in water or space, or there's this weird sensation. And she's like, I finally realized you have a bubble around you, like an actual bubble that you've probably as a kid put up to keep yourself safe, to make yourself feel safe, etc. Which is hilarious because if you know me, yes, Okinawa, thank you. Side note, because if you guys know me, I talk often, and in my mind, I thought it was like our CrossFit bubble. But I often say, I'm just going to stay in my bubble, right? Like, stay in my own path, stay in my bubble, do the thing. And she said that, and I was like, oh, so it turns out I have an actual bubble. That's kind of funny. But what that also means is that I'm not very grounded, okay? And things that I struggle with, not safety and like me being safe, but a lot of root chakra issues have been a thing for me for a long time. So, you know, money stories, that kind of stuff, a lot of root chakra just, experiences, I guess. So that made a lot of sense, right? If you're in a bubble, you can't be very grounded. So, and part of being in this world is that you have to be grounded and connected to source. So that was really interesting. She said there's definitely a lot of stuff going on the left side, which is my feminine energy. That made a ton of sense. She did say that somewhere in like a ton in the session, it was like there was somebody coming from the left side of me, like trying to get into my bubble, which is interesting. And I'm going to have to lean into that and kind of let it show to me who that person is or situation or whatever. Jokingly, I said to Brandon on Friday, I was like, it's you, because he sits on the left side of me in all these videos, which is kind of funny, but I'm sure this is from way back in my childhood. So went through that, and then we got to the center chakras, so heart chakra, solar plexus, and sacral, so the middle chakras. And I have a lot. I know that I carry a ton in my sacral chakra, so like below your belly button. Had some stuff there. I know I carry stress there. So like physically I can see my body get like bloated and swollen when I'm super stressed out. And she was like, you have a total disconnect from your heart and your emotions, basically, which is really interesting. And so as I went through it, I got to, like, afterwards a lot more comes through, right? So she said that and I was like, it's not really all that crazy. Definitely probably blocked off a lot of that stuff as a kid and through my youth especially. And I feel like with my heart chakra, I'm very connected to my heart chakra, but I think I give a lot of the energy. I give a lot of energy out, and I'm not as good as giving it back to myself, right? Practice what we preach, but we're all a work in progress, right? This is all a healing journey for all of us. So it was really interesting. She's like, it was really interesting. The word trust kept coming up, and she's like, you have a really interesting relationship with trust. It was like, you trust and you don't trust, and you trust and you don't trust, and that's an interesting word for me because if you know my story with eating disorders and body image, like, I did not trust my body. I did not trust myself for a very long time. I feel like in a lot of things, I am super, super trusting, like to outward people, and I tend to trust people. But I also realize that in life, I sometimes tend to trust people, and I've done this in the past where I trusted people and then I got hurt. And so there's probably a very interesting connection with trust of like, do I let people into that bubble? Because if I do, and then I trust them and then they hurt me, what happens after that, right? So super cool experience. So she said a lot of stuff and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go just be with this, right? And so the beauty of Reiki is a lot like breath work, is it lets your body do the work, right? So your mind doesn't have to go figure it all out. If you're open and you're connected, you'll get a lot of those messages coming through. But she was like, you'll be really tired. I was like, okay. I was exhausted, you guys. Like I came home on Friday, took a nap. We talked about rest on Friday. Napped on Friday, napped on Saturday, slept a ton this weekend. Super crazy. I'm like, literally all I did was lay there, right? And I understand that there are energies happening and all that kind of stuff, but like the logical part of me is like, I literally just laid there. How can I be so tired? But felt really cool, really open, also very emotional. Like it's just a crazy cool experience. And so for me, it's opening the door to more of my healing. And some of you guys know this, like when I did Hunger for Happiness, like our journey of self-discovery was very, it was very set out for us. Like we do this for a week, and so it was a very beautiful journey of exactly how you go through self-development and self-healing. Since then, my practice hasn't been quite as good because I haven't really been led as much, right? Which is part of why now as a coach to this stuff, why when we coach our people and like with our beta program that's coming up, it's very like it's structured and it builds on itself. So it gives you that path to be on, right? Like it's not progress, but there's a path of learning and healing and growth that happens. And when you do that, and when you do it with a group and you do it with guidance, it happens so much faster. And quite honestly, I missed that from Hunger for Happiness. We're doing an ascension program now, so I'm getting back into that with it, which is amazing. But I know for me, it opened up a lot of doors of, okay, well, where can I heal more? What is still not fully healed in me? Where do I still need to lean into? Realized I had a lot of stories around being small. That's always subconsciously always been my story, right? Like I was always the littlest one. Partly I think that showed up in my eating disorder of like, well, if I'm not the littlest one, then what, right? So we all have these stories of what we got told as kids, whatever. But I also think that for me, there's a story of not playing as big as I'm meant to, right? Of like not going outside of my bubble, because if I go outside of my bubble, I might offend somebody or I might do that or whatever. And so these stories of like, I have to stay small. I think that's showing up in our business, which is interesting. So leaning into all that, just doing a ton of journaling. But it was an amazing experience. So if you guys have never done this, you don't need to understand chakras. You don't need to be, woo-woo. You don't need to be any of those things. You just need to be open to hearing the stories that your body will tell you, and open to receiving the healing, and open to doing the work and doing that kind of stuff. So highly recommend, if you've never done Reiki, find a master practitioner. If you want Christy's name, I'll drop her info. She's amazing. And it's just super, super cool. So we're actually going to have her do Carson's. Carson's very connected spiritually. She's a pretty intuitive kid. So I'm going to have her do Carson's because I just think that would be really cool, and kids are a lot more open. So anyway, if you guys have never done it, that's my experience with it. I know a lot of people are like, oh, maybe that's cool, maybe it's not cool, whatever. It seems like one of those, to me at least, it used to be one of those super woo-woo things, but pretty amazing experience. I'll definitely go back. It's going to be a new part of my journey and my healing. So I'll keep sharing that with you guys. But if you have questions about it, if you want to know more about it, let me know. Again, if you want to know more about our beta program, we're going to launch that mid-July. So we're looking for we're going to accept 20 people that are really ready to dive in their own self-development, dive into their healing, dive into, and if that word triggers you, I'm sorry, but like we all have healing. We all have stuff we need to work through. We get to work through so we can be the best version of ourselves. So if you're at a place where you're like, I want to stop hustling, I want to get out of the diet cycle, I want to truly love myself, I want to understand myself, I want to be the best version of me, I want to learn to take inspired action, I want to learn how to slow down so that my life can actually it can unfold the way I want it to. Drop me a message. We can jump on the phone, see if you're a good fit for it. Like I said, we're only doing 20 spots. It's going to be about 16 weeks. Should be amazing. The groups that's already in, they're all beautiful, beautiful humans, and I'm so excited to be on this with them. So if you want to know more about that, let me know. If you want to know more about Reiki, I'll get you Christy's info. So love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Hopefully my better half will be back tomorrow. Happy Father's Day to all your dads out there. Hope you guys had an awesome weekend, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye, guys.